I just want you to know that in life, we look for things. But the one thing that we must find is hope. And some of us waste our entire life looking in the wrong places. And for those of you who do not know me, I just want you to know that when I was a kid, I was wishing that God would give me arms and legs. He didn't give me arms and legs, but He healed my heart and He gave me heaven in my heart. And I just love the idea of hope, real hope. Now, heaven is real, just as miracles are real. Because I've seen 12 miracles. I can look you without flinching in the eyes and saying, I've seen blind people seeing, deaf people hearing, lame people walking. I've seen crooked backs come straight, skin diseases fall off bodies. But yet I remember when I was a kid, when I was 6 years old, watching how the last days of my 27-year-old first cousin died of bowel cancer. Even though I pleaded for God to keep him alive, God took him where? Home. There is a place called heaven, whether you see it or not. That doesn't change the existence of God's ultimate plan for our life. What is that plan? In Jeremiah, he says that there is a plan. God has a plan. Sometimes we're like, can I suggest a plan B? That's what I was doing, because heaven didn't seem real to me at times because I didn't see it. Some people think I only have 1 foot just because they see only 1 foot, but I have a little second one right here, and it's always there. God's presence is always there. If you call upon the name of the Lord, you shall be saved and healed and redeemed. Years ago, I was here in this area speaking at a church, and a little boy with no arms, no legs was in the crowd. The father held him up, 19-month-old little Daniel Martinez. No arms, no legs, little foot just like me. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. We're gonna wrestle later on. I got the father to bring him up on stage, and everyone was looking at him, and people were crying. I looked at him. He's looking up at me with his big brown eyes and a big smile. And when I looked at him, I remembered when I was at school, when I was getting teased, when I was getting bullied, when I felt alone, when I was broken, when I was depressed, to the point of an attempted suicide at age 10. But by the grace of God, I did not go through with that because of the love of my parents. But I thought one way of really seeing a miracle would be if God would send a limbless man to my school and talk to all these kids about bullying. That would have changed my life. That would be classed in my eyes as a miracle. Well, when you don't get a miracle, you can still be a miracle of God for someone else. Not that just heaven is real, but Jesus is real to me now. He carries me when I cannot walk. And if God can use a man without arms and legs to be his hands and feet, then God can use you too. Let me tell you about the love of God for a second. This old woman in India, she looked about 144 years old. I mean, she couldn't close her mouth because she was that weak. She looked at me. She was trembling like this. And through a translator, we spoke to her. Where were we in India? In the red light district of brothel houses, 150 brothel houses where 10-year-olds are kidnapped and sold by their parents sometimes for $700. Forced into sex slavery. That's where we were going to preach the gospel, and we went into a home, and this old woman was sitting down on the floor. Her sister walks in and says, "Stop talking about your God. Stop talking about Jesus. Show me that he's real. Make this woman walk." She said, "I don't want to hear about your God. Let me see it." So I sort of took a step back, and I'm like, okay, God, you know that she's putting you on the spot here, not me, right? You know that you're not putting me on the spot. She's putting you on the spot. I just want you to get that here. So we prayed about it, prayed for her, prayed just right there and then with even a camera rolling. And the first time she tried to get up, she couldn't get up. She was trying to stretch her legs out. She hadn't walked for 4 years. Now, we prayed again. She got up all by herself. She started jumping up and down. It was a miracle. But here's the miracle, who that woman was. That woman wasn't just any woman. That woman was the one who started that whole red light district 45 years ago of organizing sex slavery, getting the pimps and the madams and the kidnappers, and ruining and destroying thousands and thousands of girls' lives. And God healed her. God pursued her. God pursues you every day, every breath. For as long as you are breathing, the door of mercy and grace is open to you. Jesus is the healer. He loves you. Don't deny him into your heart just because you don't believe that you're not good enough for his love. That's the amazing thing about God's unconditional love. He pursues you. And when you hear his voice, don't harden your heart. Let him in. I hardened my heart. I didn't think he could do miracles with my broken pieces. But man, you know, when I was a kid, I never thought I'd get married. I have a beautiful wife. Her name is Kanae. We have a little baby boy, nearly 18 months old. His name is Kiyoshi. He's already my height. When my parents saw me, the doctor said I'm not going to be able to walk. They had no idea what God's vision was. They were looking for hope, but they found it because they were looking in the right place. Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 13 says, "Then you will call upon me, come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart." That's verse 12 and 13. Beginning of 14, "I will be found by you, declares the Lord." I love what Rick Warren says. Who better to tell you what your purpose is than the one who made you? That makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense just to live for the sake of living and existing. But when I look at my life now, not just the blessings that I have, but even meeting that little boy with no arms and no legs, imagine that day that we meet up in heaven and he runs to me with his legs and he hugs me with his new arms and I hug him with my arms and I'm standing on my legs. I can only imagine what will come out of our mouth. Glory to God, number one. God, you are good. And the second thing I think would be shared is Daniel saying, "Nick, thank you for helping me believe that this place called heaven was real." See, you can have faith that you can pray for a miracle. But when your miracle doesn't come, still ask for God's vision. Search for God's vision in your life. I see some of you teenagers with gray hair and no hair here. I can see all of you from here very well. And God has you here for a reason. He's not done with you yet. There's still another person to hug. There's still another person to pray for. There's another missionary to send seed in and prayer for. Someone to comfort. A child who has no grandparent. You can be that, that cute little grandma that gives them all the candies. You know what I'm saying? Like that in itself, you may not think that that goes deep, but love is the greatest answer in the world. And there was no greater love than this, than Jesus Christ, who died for your sins, that if we are not forgiven, we are not perfect, therefore not deserving of heaven. You can have stuff, but what's the point of having stuff? You can give me $1 billion, but if my wife dies tonight, if my mom dies tonight, if my cousin dies tonight, money's nothing. What are you looking for? Hope? Purpose? Come to Jesus. He's the only one who was holy and perfect. He was the only one who said he was God. He's the only one who did miracles the way that he did. And before he raised himself from the dead, he raised a couple other people from the dead. He's real. He's God. Don't harden your heart as you hear the knock on the door. He loves you whether you're running away 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction or not. He loves you right now. He can help you. He can, and only He can heal your family, can heal your mind, and make you a new creation. The question is not, how are you doing? It's, wherever you're going, are you going with God, in His strength, with His plan, or your plan? My parents' vision of my life, they thought I would just be laying down the rest of my life. They never knew that I could type 43 words a minute on a normal computer and do surfing and scuba diving and skydiving. They never thought that their limbless kid would be a 31-year-old evangelist in 2013, meeting 7 presidents, speaking at 5 congresses, and 400 million people around the world heard the gospel of Jesus Christ. I get goosebumps on the skin I don't even have when like, that's amazing. That's God. That's nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with what broken pieces He used. I just gave Him my heart and I said, here, Lord, here I am. I don't understand what you have for me, but I trust you. Give me arms and legs, but if you don't give me arms and legs, take my heart, heal my heart, renew my mind. I want to live for you. When I let my own will, my own plans be surrendered, say, God, take over. That's when He brings live, beautiful things out of dead, broken bones, dead, broken dreams, torn pieces of my heart and my mind. He says, I got you. And when you cannot walk, I'll carry you. And when you mourn, I'll be there. I am with you. I love you. I have a plan. Trust me. Do you mind if we have some music in the background, please? I'll play piano, but I'm not warmed up yet myself. But I just want you to know something. That I didn't see at all what was coming. All I saw was me, like this, alone for the rest of my life. And I tell you, man, it was only 2 weeks ago that my child hugged me for the very first time. You see, how long the hug is and how frequent we hug is actually not up to me. It's up to Him. It's like our relationship with God. He's there as soon as you wake up, waiting to converse, to speak, for Him to hear your prayers, to say hello. Hi, Dad. I love you. Thank you for another day. I need you. I can't do this without you. Heal me. Give me strength. Give me your wisdom. And that, as a daily relationship with Him, reminding yourself of the promises of God, is an active relationship with Him that will transform you from the inside out. Do you have Him in your heart? Is He an idea, or is that relationship real every day you live? I'm not asking you how holy you are. I'm not asking you how long you pray. But have you died to your vision and your fear and your confusion? Just said, God, take over. Have you done that yet? I'm jealous of some of you gray-haired teenagers because you're closer to the finishing line than I. But then again, maybe not. After all, this could be the last time I'm on stage. Correct? But that's why I smile. Because every day, He is with me. He is mine, and I am His, no matter what. Continue to seek the Lord with all your heart. Lean not upon your own understanding. Trust in Him. He'll direct your paths. You will find Him, and He'll be everything you'll ever need.